It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 5 o'clock on the West Coast. It is the 22nd of February in the year of our Lord 2024. Season 14, episode 19, 654 times. You have been welcomed to the Clubhouse Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things, count them with me, sports, entertainment, pop culture, and professional wrestling. Live every Thursday night via Ustream. Shout out Ustream. No free ads, but, you know, they do a good job.
Yardstream.
Don is on another continent right now on assignment, so he'll be out this week and next week. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Clubhouse Podcast, and technically it is baseball season, so I'm okay wearing this. That way from me, my thumb doesn't poke around that far for some reason. He is my co-host. We can't make the chicken wings joke. We did that last week, didn't we?
There you go.
Ah, yes.
I think you were doing you tease the beginning, I'll tease the end.
A man that has a shirt that is all elite. He is Alex.
Well, I figured, like I said, I had a feeling that you were going to be doing something baseball, and usually mine are reserved for July so that I can get my torture out of the way. But boy, did the headline Metsing earlier than ever this year really hurt my heart.
I wasn't going to say it. I saw it on the ESPN today, and I said, you know what? I am not going to bring that up because that would be wrong to say to Alex because as well documented on this show, I do not talk trash. So because of that, I will not talk about that. Now, should you want to, that is up to you, but it's early.
No. Yeah, it's just pulling the Band-Aid off, Senga having a sore shoulder and probably being on the IL to start the year and with no timeline for return. But if we're being honest, where are the Mets going this year anyways?
Yeah. But I do want to do something real quick. Ready?
Go for it.
For it. Bang!
So for those playing the home game, that is a QR code that you can use with your camera phone app or any kind of camera with an app attached to it that you can get to all of our socials, whether it be for our YouTube, Twitch, even our store, but also our website.
I do promise that it will not take you to the video for Never Gonna Give You Up. I do promise that.
You know, that would have been a fun one. And you know what? I'm not going to pull that.
The guy that did that in drones over the city of Dallas on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago, you can't, like, that's the ultimate Rickroll. Like, it's everybody else,
it has
give up. Give up at that point because you're not going to beat drones over the city downtown on New Year's Eve. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why my favorite one is when it's like Sean's brother who's like, hey, I have this really cool video you want to see. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Everything old is new again.
Well, the only NFL headline that I thought was funny, I guess, and I can't really talk too much about it because Don's not here. And rumors being rumors. Maybe somebody's leaving Denver and going to Pittsburgh, maybe?
Well, there's a lot of different...
I saw that today and went,
lines.
Don's not going to be happy if he sees that.
Oh, wait, please explain this to me because now I want to know because I don't know why he'd be unhappy.
I wouldn't want Russell Wilson to quarterback a team.
Let's put it in this context. As a Giants fan, because I like to suffer in all my sports, Russell Wilson is a step up for multiple teams, including the Giants and the Steelers.
That's fair.
I'm not saying it's great. It's not worth the cost, probably, but
the second half of the NBA season gets underway tonight with 12 games.
Still garbage.
Well, but
I love that people are just bagging on the All-Star game because guess what? That's what the regular season has been too.
But I did see some of the footage from the skills challenge. The LED floor.
The skills challenge is fun.
The LED floor looked pretty cool. I'll give him that.
Yes. So, I'm not going to take anything away from that.
Atlantic Division, the Toronto Raptors do not have the worst record in the NBA right now. They can see it from here, but they don't have the worst. But they're still 24 games out of first place. They are 2.5 games back on the Nets. The Nets now 11 back on Philadelphia, who practices in New Jersey. The 76ers are a half game back on New York. New York is now 10 back on Boston, who's on a 6-game heater, have the best record in the NBA right now, 43-12. But as we know, nothing matters until you get to the playoffs because the playoffs. In the Central Division that has no Eastern or Western, the Detroit Pistons, former champs of basketball, do have the worst record in the NBA at 8-46 right now.
Can you even name somebody on Detroit without looking it up right now?
Nope. They are 28.5 games back. They are 17.5 back on the Bulls. You can believe that. The Bulls now 4.5 back on the Pacers. The Pacers now 4 back on Milwaukee. Milwaukee now 2.5 back on Cleveland in the Southeast Division because Washington apparently is in the Southeast. They've only got the second worst game record in the NBA by a game. They are 9-45. But yet they're somehow 8 games closer to first place.
It's funny when you play in the weaker division.
Well, there's only 3 teams right now that have sub 20 losses, and 2 of them are in the Eastern Conference.
Right. I said division, not conference. Right. I want to clarify.
No, I'm just saying, like, to clarify why that's a thing. Like, the Eastern Conference is doing pretty well so far. But by the way, Washington's 3-23 at home. Just thought I'd put it out there. 1 game worse than Detroit. So there's a trade-off there. They are 4 games back on Charlotte. Charlotte now 10.5 back on Atlanta. The Hawks are now 6 back on Miami and Orlando. So you got that going for you. Let's see here in the Western Conference, the Pacific Division. Go ahead, sir.
One of the things, though, that would get me interested in the NBA, like, they have to make a lot of changes for me to not think it's garbage. But one of those things I need is I don't need them to win a championship or anything. I need Charlotte to be good. The fond memories of Larry Johnson, Grandmama, and Zoe running up and down the court and making Charlotte fun. I miss that.
I thought you were going to say Bill Lambier's Battle Ball.
No, that's even before me.
No, that was a Super Nintendo game, sir. You would have been in middle school around the Super Nintendo era. I'm sorry to say, I can do math, and you would have been in middle school, so you would have been cognizant of that terrible game.
Well, there's other things that we don't talk about why Super Nintendo doesn't apply.
Also fair. The Golden State Warriors, they're only 9 back in the division right now. And by the way, actually, we have 4 teams that are sub 20. 2 of them in each conference. I do apologize. I can't.
There you go.
Golden State. Let's see, a game and a half back on the Lakers. The Lakers 2 back on Sacramento. Sacramento a game and a half back on Phoenix. Phoenix 4 back on the Clippers currently. In the Southwest Division, the Spurs are still terrible, but they've got double-digit wins. They're 11-44 right now. They're 22 back. They are 8.5 back on Memphis. The Grizzlies now 5. Back on Houston. Houston. 7.5 back on Dallas. Dallas now only a game back on Fly Pelican. Dallas on a 6-game heater. Currently.
Speaking of Dallas, did you see the other thing that came out of the All-Star break that was kind of known, but nobody knew how in depth the relationship between Jokic and Doncic was?
I did see the press conference. Apparently that's been a thing for years. I had no idea.
Oh, no. They were friends before they were NBA players. That's what I was talking about. And so it made me wonder. I don't think either of them ever leaves the team they're on. I just don't. Based on, Larry Bird rules. But if one of them was going to move, which one do you think it would be?
It wouldn't be Luka. They're going to lock him down forever.
Oh, I think they're going to do the same thing to Jokic, but I think that's the closest one you get because they might blink at the idea of a big man at an advanced age.
Can I say it's kind of weird that I'm looking at the Yahoo? They show their home record, but not their away record. They make you do the math on that. It's home and then divisional and then conference and then last 10.
You're still the only person I know that actually uses Yahoo for sports.
It's easier for me. And in the Northwest Division, the Portland Trailblazers, they are 23.5 games out. They got 15 wins, though. They're 10 back on Utah. Utah, 10.5 back on Denver. Denver, a game and a half back on Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, now a game and a half back on the Timberwolves. Timberwolves on a 4-game heater there. We're not doing
And
playoff
playing inspired ball.
No, they're trying real hard.
Yeah.
In the NHL, in the Eastern Conference Atlantic Division, the Ottawa Senators, they're only 30 points out of first place. Well, you got that going for you, which is nice. Ottawa is 3 points back on the Montreal Canadiens. Thank you for picking up the slack on that. 2 points back on the Sabres. Sabres 10 points back on Detroit. Detroit's only a point back on the Lightning. Tampa Bay 5 points back on Toronto. Toronto is now 8 back on Florida. Florida's only a point back on Boston right now. By the way, Florida's won 6 in a row. Florida's playing hockey.
I'd rather watch Florida play anybody than anybody else.
If you take the top 3 teams in the Atlantic Division, that's a 13-game win streak right now.
Yeah, sounds right.
And the Metropolitan Division, the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, see, here I was waiting for the cue.
I just kind of felt like that's kind of Don's thing.
No, it is Don's thing, but he's not here, so I was just going to try and be helpful.
I'll do it next week.
Even with my half-hearted ha.
They are thought. See, you mentioned Canadians, and Jackson shows up. I don't know what. That sounded a lot funnier. That sounded a lot funnier in my head. Columbus is 31 points out of first place. They're 10 back on the Penguins. The Penguins 2 back on Washington. Washington now 2 back on the Islanders. Islanders and New Jersey are tied at 60 points, 7 back on the Flyers. Philly now 4 back on Carolina. Carolina now 6 back on the Rangers, who have won 8 in a row. In the we did talk the Atlantic Division, so we've gotten everything covered. Let's go to the Western Conference. In the Central Division, that also has no Eastern or Western, the Chicago Blackhawks are still pretty bad, and they're only 43 points out of first place. They are 17 points back on the Coyotes. The Coyotes, sir.
I'm sorry, which Coyotes?
That would be Arizona.
Still hate it.
I know, you and me both. Arizona now 8 back on the Wild. I do love that Minnesota Wild logo. Always
that
have.
Is a great one.
Always been a fan. They are 2 points back.
When has Minnesota ever had a bad logo?
Timberwolves were a little rough there for a while.
That's fair. But I would say that none of them are outright losses like some other teams have had.
I would agree with you there. Nashville and St. Louis are tied at 60 points, but they're both 13 back on Winnipeg. Winnipeg's a point back on Colorado. Dallas now holds a 2-point lead in the division, but they've lost 3 in a row. So, by the way, Arizona now on an 11-game cooler. Because I guess that would be the opposite of a heater.
No, that's 100% correct. And if you don't believe me, check out a movie with William H. Macy called The Cooler.
It's a good flick. Underrated. Yes, nice pull, by the way. I shouldn't be shocked if you've seen that movie because it does kind of play to something that that is your strengths on this show.
That is fair.
Russ is in the house. I wasn't going to put it that way, but
I will. I own it.
You're on fire tonight, dude.
It's been a long week, and I'm at the id-gaff level, but I'm trying not to be full id-gaff.
You understand that statement has been said by at least 9 people outside of this conversation this week? I don't know what it is about this week, but it has gone at the pace of a turtle on an oil slick. I am not kidding you. Like Tuesday, I was like, why is it still Tuesday? For like all day. And today it was just like, can we get to Friday yet? I mean, I want to do the show because I want to hang out with Alex, but can we get to Friday for God's sake, man? In the Pacific Division, we all know who's in the last place here. We'll talk about it in a minute. By the way, they're, 45 points out of first place. There's 7 back on Anaheim. Anaheim is, 7 points back on Calgary. Oh, I'm in the wrong column. Let's try this again. There's 7 back on Anaheim. Anaheim 5 back on Calgary, who's tied with Seattle. Man, that's another logo I love.
The Kraken.
That Kraken logo. From the first time I saw it, I was like, this is how you do a logo.
Well, the funny thing is we were talking about NHL logos and one in particular last week. They don't use it as much anymore. I don't know if you saw that, but they have changed their logo or their primary to a fin, and it's not as good.
There's an Instagram feed that I follow that basically does, hey, I'm going to redo some team's logo with
I've seen it with the logos, the helmets, Love it.
Did you see the one she did for the Jaguars?
Ooh, no, I don't know if I did.
Where it's a running Jaguar, but the space between the Jaguars logos running is Duval County.
That's cool.
And she does that like with the counties with a lot of them. And I think that's just whatever she, and I if I had it, I would put it on the screen, but Google it because she does amazing work. And the NFL specifically needs to take notice is all I'm saying, because I have not seen one yet that I'm like, I've not seen one that wasn't dope. Let's see here. By the way, we are back to Seattle and Calgary being tied. They are 9 points back on the Kings. The Kings are 2 back on the Oilers. Oilers 2 back on Vegas. Vegas now 10 back on Vancouver. Vancouver running away with the division currently. All right, it is time for North America's favorite game show. Where's the thing?
Oh, we are playing with just one?
Yeah, why not? Well, Russ
I don't know. I just didn't anticipate it. I'm down.
Russ does like
I'm busy Googling for that logo you were talking about.
What is the goal differential for the San Jose Sharks?
You know, I could be a real jerk and say that because I'm technically not competing against anybody, I could just say 1, but this ain't that kind of show. There's nothing on the line, but
you're better than that, sir.
I'm going to go with 96. It's been a week, but I don't know how many games they've had.
We're on about a 25-second delay, so we're going to wait for Russ to chime in. And while we're waiting for Russ, real quick, I did not realize until it was happening that Daytona happened on Monday for some reason.
Yep.
Was there rain?
It was a holiday.
Oh,
no,
there you go.
They just put it on the holiday.
Okay. It says minus 100. Alex has said minus 96.
Are you going to really make me thread the needle, Russ?
The San Jose Sharks have played 55 games. In those 55 games, they are 15, 35, and 5. So the number 5 seems to be playing a role here. They have 35 points. This is so weird.
I just want to go out on a limb and say we don't owe Sammy Hagar anything.
They're 9-15-2 at home. They're 6-20-3 on the road. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10. They're on a 2-game cooler. Both of you gentlemen went over.
Oh.
But Alex is closest without not going over, because the San Jose Sharks currently have a minus 95 goal differential.
I was off by 1.
Missed it by 1, sir.
Well, it was 93 last week, I think.
Well, didn't they just come off the All-Star break too? Or is that this weekend?
No, that was a few weeks ago. It was a little ways back. Yeah.
Was that the same weekend as the Pro Bowl?
I believe it was.
Wow.
Which, if I remember saying, the Pro Bowl is now the worst of every All-Star thing, even on its own weekend.
I like what they've done with it. I not that I watched any of it, because let me be honest, I didn't watch a nanosecond if it wasn't highlights. But at least they're trying to do something.
Now, I still maintain, I give them credit for trying something. They have the start to a good idea. They don't have the execution, but 100%, I don't know if it's needing to put more money on the line, move it somewhere because people wanted to go to Hawaii for the vacation. Now it's quote unquote just Orlando, as much as we love Orlando. But there has to be something on the line for people to actually care and try, outside of guys like Jason Kelce, who are rare in just caring because.
Yeah, but
bring back the quarterback challenge, put it at the Grand Floridian or something, and just do the different events at different venues in other places to make it a noteworthy attraction, and then make it something we care about.
But we had that for a while with Major League Baseball, and that went away too. Because remember, there was a time when if you won the All-Star game, you got home field advantage in the World Series.
Oh, see, but I'm not talking about something like that. You can't do that for football. I'm talking about, okay, hypothetically speaking, you with me?
Okay.
I want to say the average starting quarterback right now, of actual starters, not just like draftees and whatnot, guys who have signed a contract, is like in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 million. Make the quarterback challenge. First place gets 10 mil. Second place gets 5. Make it worthwhile for them to try and do the old school quarterback challenge.
Can I give you something else? Can I give you something else on the teams that are lined up for the first 2 picks in the draft are the coaches, and the winning coach gets the first pick in the draft.
See, the only problem I have with that one is because you still have the hiring and trying to establish when that comes around. Because the last place tends to have a new coach more often than not. I have seen replace the Pro Bowl with the 2 bottom teams with a big bonus on the line and who gets the first pick and let them play each other.
Well, and you also know how I feel about that first Thursday night game. It should be a rematch of the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
True, and I'm still mad that Detroit let it slip away. I'm just saying.
All right, let's now get into some TV talk here. HBO/Max/ whatever you want to call it this week. They have officially, after the finale, they have officially renewed True Detective for season 5. Apparently that went very well.
Good.
I did not watch this season. Like, I got halfway through season 2, and I'm told this season 4 is phenomenal. That first season was so outstanding, and it took such a nosedive. Actually, I did make it all the way through season 2, and was like, well, okay. And I didn't do any of the season 3, and so I don't know.
I've actually never watched a minute of it.
I'm telling you, that first season's fantastic.
Well, but it's one of those that's on the list where it's like I want to watch it, but then other things pop up and it gets pushed to the back. We've always discussed about how we have a list about a mile long of things to watch, and something else will creep up and cover over top of it. And we're probably going to talk about a few of those things coming up.
Which is why you notice I didn't say you got to go watch season 1. I just said it's fantastic.
True.
Because I'm off that bandwagon now. I'm off that particular thing. Like, there's so much content out there right now. I will say what I like. Should you want to go and watch that to see if you like it? Hey, that's on you. I'm cool with it. But I'm past the whole, you got to watch this.
Yeah.
Hulu announced another casting addition to season 4 of Only Murders in the Building. Last week, we talked about Molly Shannon joining the cast. Today announced that Eva Longoria also joining the cast for that show, which that's one I need to get caught up on, I think, because it just seems like it's right up my alley. And it's just one of those I just haven't gotten to.
Well, the other hard part is I want to say the first couple of seasons were more of a surprise when they dropped outside of the hardcore fans. Now, the other one I have an issue with is because I remember the first season being so isolated to Steve Martin Short, specifically saying it that way. So it was kind of and it almost feels like the cast maybe getting beyond what I've heard from people about it being such a smaller focused show. Like, it doesn't have a wide spanning, it kind of knows what it is. But if you get this many people, is that starting to fly in the face of what most people like about the show?
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely getting the watches. Russ wants to say that Sid and Marty Krofft shows are on Tubi and the Dove channel. And if you've checked on my page, last year I did post, I had a great interview with one of the Krofft brothers. I believe it was Sid, who was at Retro Expo last year. Had a great, very, very awkward, momently conversation, the way it had to be structured, and we had to make some huge pivots. But I believe it was Sid. Let's see here. NBC/Peacock/ whatever you want to call that. We got SNL announcements. They are back this week with Shane Gillis, and your musical guest is 21 Savage. Your next one on March 2nd will be the Sydney Sweeney and Casey Musgrave. That'll be fun. And then on March 9th, it'll be Josh Brolin and Ariana Grande.
Okay, so we got 3 weeks before anything pulls me on a guest front. Got it.
Josh McDermott from The Walking Dead, if you remember him. He is joining Stephen Amell in the Suits spinoff, Suits LA.
You know what? I like that casting. It's a good fit. The guy's got real talent.
I've been reading some good reviews on the new Law and Order Criminal Intent Toronto as well. That's people are kind of digging it. Sure. Netflix has renewed the Money Heist spinoff Berlin for season 2. My wife got into the original because I think the original was in Spain. Yes. They're doing really good work with the dubbing in those shows. It's pretty impressive.
And if I remember correctly, somebody said the two things that Money Heist and Squid Game had in common was that you didn't have to adjust for the mouths because of the masks. More often than not, who was speaking was not on screen unless it was your protagonist.
But even when they are, I've been
Yeah.
in, because like my wife's been watching and I'll walk in. I've been impressed with the way that the dubbing is. They're really doing their best to make it match as much as possible, which I did.
Well, I feel like Netflix figured out that niche for them. And if you need any further evidence, go back and watch their version of All Quiet on the Western Front because it is seamless.
And I don't know if we talked about this before, but I saw it today and I feel like I knew this, but maybe I didn't. They are going to be streaming live the SAG Awards this year.
Oh, I did not know that.
That will not be a TNT thing for the first time in forever in a day. So this will stream on Netflix, as they are starting to do that quite a bit more as we are gearing up for something coming in January, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Paramount Plus had a lot of layoffs this week, and as a result of that, they are shutting down their Noggin streaming service, which at one point was an actual channel. I don't know if it still is or not, but they have renewed the Frasier reboot for season 2.
Oh, nice. Well, there is also a lot of reports about them merging with Peacock or another streaming service to kind of combine forces.
TV on DVD and Blu-ray this week, season 4 of Monk, season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead, and the complete series for Orphan Black. That might be a Blu-ray release just because that show's been gone for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So there's that. They got that going for them, which is nice. Only one real movie headline this week that I saw, and it's a very interesting thing. From the, we're going to give you something, but there's going to come a day that we're going to ask a favor. Disney has given their Blu-ray and DVD producing business to Sony.
I have a feeling that there's going to be some properties exchanging hands for that.
Come home, Peter Parker. It's time. Yeah. Especially as...
Hold on. Peter A, Peter B.
Especially given... And I still have not seen it, so I'm not judging. But the abstract, absolute failure that has been Madam Web.
I have not seen it either, but I feel like we're not long from it being on a certain other podcast.
It's got to be. It has to be. I'm going to see it at some point. Like, I have to see so I can say how good or bad this thing is. But
I mean, is there a Marvel movie outside of that one you have not seen in any property?
Eternals.
Okay, so you still haven't seen it. See, for me, I believe the Marvels and Madam Web are my list, but the Marvels is going to be happening soon.
I watched it on the plane to Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. I very much enjoyed it.
Well, and now that it's on Disney Plus, it's easier.
Yeah. I think you'll enjoy it. It's...
Oh, I don't deny that I will. I don't buy into other people's opinions more often than not, but at that same time, sometimes it's not very high on my list.
Flurgans. We like Flurgans. You like that one was, you know it.
Well, I thought one was jumping up on your lap, and that's what you were getting at.
Oh, no, because they're in the trailer.
Oh, I know.
Okay. Let's see. Movie new releases in places you get movie new releases tomorrow. Drive Away Dolls comes out tomorrow, but that one's been delayed, and that's finally getting released. Ordinary Angels comes out tomorrow.
With Alan.
Yep.
Big Al's in Ordinary Angels, so we got to give it a double shout.
As is, I just lost his name. Now you're going to make me look this up. Someone I'm a huge fan of that is a Bob and Tom regular. Drew. That's who's in this. Who was in Gotham? Solomon
I didn't hear what...
Drew Powell, who was on Gotham. Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
Amy Acker's in this. Nancy Travis is in this.
Are we starting at the bottom?
No, I'm just scrolling down the thing.
Okay, because I am struggling to remember $1 Million Baby. What is her name?
Hilary Swank.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So that's coming. Again, it's February, so
Fluff.
the gas starts to push down a little bit. We're getting there, kids. So we've got some. We had nothing to review this week because we didn't screen anything, but there's a couple coming next week.
Oh yeah,
I will tell you the big one next week. I'm not screening because I haven't seen the first part still, and it's on a school night, and it's going to be 11:30 by the time I get home.
Oh, that's one of those ones that I always enjoy because I will tell Sean anytime one comes in, and she goes, "Yeah, you're signing up for that." I'm like, "Sorry, what?" She's like, "Yeah."
Oh, you are doing that one?
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing the other one that same night.
Mm-hmm.
So
divide and conquer.
Yep, that's what we do on this show. Let's see here. Movies on DVD and Blu-ray coming this Tuesday. Wonka releases next week, and I
Still
love
see that one.
Film. So good. I'm assuming it's going to be on Max within the next couple of weeks.
So I'm going to give you an interesting parallel.
Okay.
I am hearing the exact same divide for Wonka that we had with Saltburn. And the people who loved Saltburn hate Wonka, and the people who didn't like or watch Saltburn love Wonka. It's weird.
Strange parallel. I did not know that. Yeah. You mentioned All Quiet on the Western Front. Mm-hmm. That hits DVD and Blu-ray this coming Tuesday. Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage this week.
Of ridiculous movies I want to see, that one's on the list.
The latest VHS 85. This is a anthology series of found footage things.
Yeah.
Hard pass. Next Goal Wins, which we know is available to stream right now, which I'm still waiting on Alex. You watched it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we talked about it.
We had that discussion a few days ago where I said, what was it you wanted to tell me?
I don't remember. But I did love that film. I
enjoyed it very much. Yes.
And the Criterion Collection does the film The Roaring Twenties this coming.
Oh, okay.
All right, hold on. I got to get the other thing ready.
Well, while you're doing that, it made me think of something ridiculous. And this may be a topic to discuss and elaborate later, but I have a list of movies that pop up in my head that I wish had gotten more money behind it, or they would remake it now with current technology instead of making Beast. But you said The Roaring Twenties, and of course with The Roar, can we get a remake of Ghost in the Darkness?
Good flick.
I loved it, but think about what you would have if you had more of the abilities with modern technology on it instead of, that one scene where you can see the guy doing this with the lion head.
That was Michael Douglas, right?
Oh, yeah. Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer.
That's what it was.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is you had a prop master in one of the shots that made the movie where he's attacking and you could see the guy shaking the head from the back.
That was on a recent episode of Matinee Heroes. We talked about that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But now this. I promise that section of the show will get longer as the year goes on. We're just in a downtime for everything that is not professional. Right now.
Love and just to pick up the slack.
Chabooyah. There you go. All right.
And in case you were wondering, that connects to Cheap Popcast as well.
Yep.
So feel free. It works with everything.
Last week on TNA Impact, ABC tied their best of 3 with the GYV as expected, and Crazy Steve is still your current digital media champion.
I'm not against it. It makes me uncomfortable.
This is going to be a weekend.
Yeah.
Because let me run you what the next 72 hours are going to be. I have watched the first 40 minutes of Ring of Honor before the show just so that I can at least get a head start. Because tonight we will have the rest of Ring of Honor and TNA, which I will watch tomorrow morning because TNA Plus doesn't post it till later. Tomorrow night we'll have SmackDown, which has been taped, and Rampage. Saturday morning we have the Chamber, and then we have And we have No Surrender tomorrow night, by the way.
Okay, that's what I was like, we're missing one.
Then tomorrow we've got the Chamber, Collision, WoW, and Reality of Wrestling. So what? And then I've got stuff going on during the day on Saturday now. So I'm going to be doing a lot of duck, dodge, and weave for the next 72 hours. But we're going to cover it all because we do it for the kids. Let's see. Speaking of WoW, Miami Sweet Heat are now your 3-time WoW Tag Team Champions. I say Miami Sweet Heat via Minneapolis because I don't know a lot of people in Miami that have those accents. That's all I'm saying.
And I feel like, was there like one line in a meeting that was just like, there's a lot of snowbirds in Miami. They'll have an accent from the north. No, just no.
We're this far from a transformer in the barn. That's all I'm saying.
And you can say that freely right now because there's somebody not here.
I told that story to somebody the other day. A friend of the show, Ricardo, and I were hanging out, and I told him that story, and he was howling. He's like, "You're right." I'm like I just. Speaking of which, speaking of his brother, did you see the interview with Donnie on the Kelly Clarkson show this week?
No.
So one of your big retro tours this year.
New Kids. Yeah.
With Paula Abdul and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Oh, wow.
Donnie has gone to Paula and said he wants to do the MC Scat Cat part for Opposites Attract. And she apparently has told him, you don't just sing it, you have to do the dancing. So what he's decided he's going to do is he's still going to do the song, but he's going to make Joey McIntyre stand in front of him and do the dancing. And I was like, I despised them so much when I was in high school. And I had a t-shirt that I made as the president of a group called Tank, Teens Against New Kids. I fully cop to this. Fully cop to it. But I can't hate on them anymore. I can't do it, except the fact that they're not kids.
Well, we're switching into the cheap podcast. So when was the last time the Young Bucks were young? We got that covered on both ends.
Well, I'm going to cover them here in a minute.
Let's get
into WWE talk. We are 6 weeks from WrestleMania right now.
Too far.
But if you're going to be in the Phil, let's talk before we get into this. Let's talk about this. We start with a trivia question that I know you know the answer to.
That is true.
What is the thing that crawls up into my spine and dies more than anything whenever there's a live show of some form in Texas?
Go ahead.
It's a saying.
No, I'm telling you, just go ahead.
It drives me nuts with the whole everything is bigger in Texas. Like, we get it. Live here. Leave us alone. How is it WrestleMania XL isn't in Texas? I thought of that yesterday, and I was like, it sells itself. I'm just saying.
Well, do you even need to sell WrestleMania anymore? Really?
I'm just saying.
You're not wrong,
but if you're going to be in Philly, get ready for the WrestleMania Access suit. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not that anymore.
Oh, you mean Fan X?
The World of WrestleMania?
No, it's even worse.
I thought I thought that's what they were calling it.
No, that would be an improvement. So let's just say, let's combine two random words. And outside of Disney World, anywhere that has world in the name, probably worse. But maybe not WWE World? And somewhere there's an orca claiming gimmick infringement?
Do you think this has anything to do with them trying to not people confuse it with what they just opened overseas?
No, I
Isn't
saw.
that called like the fan?
I would really like no. That's that. I am now uncomfortable because I know the reason the name was changed. It came to me later, and I had confirmation, and we're not talking about it on air.
Okay, no, I'm just saying. But isn't that what they called that? Isn't that called
the WWE Road Deal? So there's some term for it. I'll look it up.
Okay,
But it's not WWE World. It's
but I thought it was something like the fan experience or something like that, and I was wondering if they renamed it to kind of remind you that this is something.
separated it, or
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That was my thought process. I don't, but you apparently know more than I do on this, and you've asked to leave it alone, and we will. Let's see here. Kevin Patrick bouncing back quickly.
the WWE experience.
Okay. Because access and experience kind of sound alike.
I would really, really like to not continue talking about this.
I agree. I'm just saying that was my thought process. That was
I can get you on that, but
okay, no, totally.
We really should be moving on right now.
Right, yeah. I'm not going to dig any further. Kevin Patrick bouncing back. He is now working for MLS.
Oh, good for him.
On their MLS 360 is what the show was called.
Okay. Still, I mean, that's probably more his niche anyways. That's where he came from, wasn't it?
Last week on SmackDown, shout out to Kevin Owens for working with that fan at ringside to make sure that their sign was right set up.
And apparently still wrestling with a break in his foot. God.
We've had Logan Paul, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton all qualified for the Chamber. Kind of surprised on that last one. But and we had Braun signing with SmackDown, so that's a thing. So we're trying to figure out. Apparently, they want to keep we want to keep the Wolf Dogs together.
Well, I was thinking that we might wind up having the story of them splitting. Like Corbin comes in, like, "Wow, we're both on SmackDown, and you got to sign first." And Nick Aldis is like, "No, not you.
I'm going to need you to stand outside, please."
Yeah, and they wind up telling the story that way, where you have Braun being the okay. Am I loyal to pushing for my teammate and at the risk of irritating my new boss? Kind of that story.
Can we
Very
talk
relatable,
about the ending?
but
It is 2020 SmackDown. It is 2024. I have not seen anyone, and because I don't look at a lot of places anyway, I'm going to say something that may not be popular. In 2024, The Rock as a heel doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
That promo could be one of the worst I've ever seen him pull.
That is true.
And not even wrestling logic. I'm sorry. Not even wrestling logic could save him. Because you cut this promo where you're just like, no, Cody, you go to the back of the line. Oh, because I lost. No, he won the Rumble. By winning the Rumble, you get to pick the champion. So to say he doesn't deserve the shot, you even threw wrestling logic out the window. And then people are saying, oh, what about him? And he didn't actually do the ones right because he had the thumb out. I'm like,
respect to Colton and Austin Gunn being all over that.
I did not. That promo did not work for me.
Didn't work for me either. But I'm also the same person who's been fantasy booking that this heel Rock character is all a ruse.
Which I think AEW is also doing something similar. From Dynamite last night. And we'll talk about it here in a minute.
Yeah.
From Raw, I do want to say Andrade's promos are getting a lot better.
He has been working a lot on his English too. And just he's finding that beat. Yeah.
The intensity, you're right. The cadence works really well. That promo he cut on Monday, I thought was fantastic. Raquel Rodriguez returned and wins the Battle Royale and qualifies for the Chamber. And she put up a very heartfelt Instagram post earlier today, kind of chronicling the journey while she was out of some of the things she was dealing with. So respect to Raquel.
But did you see that they did the thing that I always get mad at with Battle Royals and Royal Rumbles? So there's an old thing that when you have a large number of participants in there, you will look for quick shots of cameras looking at people in the ring. But then there is one camera that will just lock onto a single person and then they cut to another camera. No movement, no nothing. If you go back and look, it telegraphs the winner of Battle Royals way more than it doesn't because it's the individual camera who is going to be making sure to trace the winner for highlights that winds up doing it.
Fair enough.
Now, they got better about it for a while where they would still do it with the camera, but it would be off feed. But they did that right before. And the moment it happened, I just looked at Sean and I was like, well, there's your winner.
So I asked you something the other day.
Oh, boy.
And I actually saw it mentioned on Facebook today. So I'm hoping you didn't see it. But if you did, you did. And we'll deal with it. R-Truth's lower third put up a fact that made me go, wow.
Well, you asked me not to look this up so that I could genuinely react. I have not seen it.
Right. But what I'm saying is it showed up in my Facebook feed randomly. So I wasn't sure if you had stumbled on it. Like, I know you would have gone out of your way, but if you stumbled on it.
Did not.
Did you know that currently R-Truth has the longest tenure in WWE?
No, and the funny thing is I don't know that I would have agreed with that.
He
if you told me to pick.
25th year.
But still, well, okay, hold on.
Since
Are we but we're limiting this to active wrestlers? Yes.
That's literally what the lower third says. He is the longest tenured WWE superstar in the company since 2000.
But since 2000, okay. Because what I was going to say is we literally had celebrations of Triple H, but still being with the company, not an active wrestler. That's why I was confirming.
On that side of the camera, I think is what they're saying. Because R-Truth has had times away where he's been injured too.
True.
But
and not counting the NWA situation as the man that beat Ken Shamrock.
I saw that today in my feed.
Oh, did you?
Look, it showed up in my feed. But yeah, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going through the mental Rolodex and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, the only one you could come close to is Orton.
Yeah. Because Cena wasn't until much later, too.
Yeah, I want to say Cena was 04, and I believe Orton's first was in 02.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
NXT, apparently Nikita Lyons injured again.
When isn't she? I mean, I want her to be healthy. I want her to be performing. I want her to get her shot, but man, is she the new Tegan Nox?
And then something we teased last week that I wasn't going to talk about because if it wasn't on TV, it didn't happen yet, but it was ruined for me in a very random way, which upset me greatly. The Good Brothers now in NXT for about an hour and a half or so, we think.
We'll see.
And Shotzi we did see the Shotzi injury. I didn't see it because I closed my eyes. But I liked the pivot of we told you you're going to get a women's match. Lash Legend comes out. Lyra retained as we knew she would. But I like the way they did.
Ava's still terrible on the mic, though.
She's getting better. She is getting better.
He would have to.
Well, but still, she could be status quo.
My hope is that her evolution here is like Dominic's, somebody who I complained about incessantly because he couldn't talk, and they found his niche. I'm hoping for her on that. But
and multiple generations.
Yes. But did you catch the way somebody put it was as the trainer call out by Nathan Fraser?
No.
So when he comes out doing the nah, that's not how this works here. Nathan Fraser was trained by Seth Rollins, and that's what Seth Rollins did years ago between the Dean Ambrose Roman title picture. And they still throw that up periodically on social, and it makes me giggle.
Russ did talk about Elimination Chamber. Says one good thing about it, he can imagine wrestling fans eating cereal and in PJs. I am not getting up at 4:00 in the morning.
No. But I want to take what Russ is saying and just establish it. Didn't we all start with watching something like Superstars eating cereal on a Saturday morning?
By the time it aired where I was, though, and I don't know, maybe it changed by the time you got to that point, it was almost lunchtime.
Yeah, it was about 10 a.m.
Because all of your Saturday morning cartoons had to run through cycle. And I want to say that went till at least 11, if not noon. And then I know All American on Sunday was at noon on USA because I watched it after church.
Yeah, Superstars was always 10 a.m. when I was a kid.
Then you had Wrestling Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Moving on to AEW, we want to say congratulations to Mike Santana, who has celebrated 1 year of sobriety.
Yes.
So shout out to him. And the Briscoes will be going into the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame this year.
GCW Hall of Fame. Yep.
Who I found it's going to be in town next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're doing something on Leap Day while
Nice.
we're on the air next week. I think it's at Gillies.
Oh, that's right. I did see about that.
They did show the incident on Rampage. Again, I did not watch it. I closed my eyes. I'm surprised they aired it again because it was pre-taped. Yeah. There apparently was something that happened off air, which I believe was the Hardys selling it with the birds in the faces and the things like that.
That kid felt bad enough already.
Yeah. Did you watch Rampage?
Skimmed it, basically.
Did you watch the Mox Claudio promo?
I did, but I don't know where you're going with this.
Moxley talking about how they're on the same page and they can read each other's minds. And he says, Claudio, what I'm thinking of right now. And Claudio goes, your wife's glutes. And the look on Mox's face where he just kind of, yeah, he's right.
Does wrestling create the most odd couples that somehow work, or is it just the ones we notice?
I just want to know if Mox knew that was coming, because there was that split side, and Russ is right. They were in Tulsa for the first time, and that's where Russ is from. The look on Mox, like he wanted to just laugh and he knew he couldn't, so he just did that pregnant pause thing.
Yeah.
And just the look on Claudio's face, like, do it, break character, do it, do it.
I always think of that as the Ambrose face, because it was always the I know I'm gonna laugh if I don't just stare into space.
The Queen Aminata push has begun as she gets a quality win over Anna Jay. That was a great. And I would like to apologize to our audience.
Oh boy.
As a man who is deeply rooted in pop culture, I missed the fact that they did a Simpsons reference on Rampage. And it took me seeing video on Facebook. Although that is kind it's kind of a deep cut.
Still shame.
The knifey spoony thing was directly taken from a Simpsons episode.
A
Collision was off last week. Alex thought Collision came on early. He was partially right. It was Rampage that aired early last week. They will be back tomorrow night, as I listed the 97 different shows I've got to get through this weekend. By the way, we did watch John Oliver last night. Loved it.
Oh, good.
Loved it. Dynamite last night, 2 draws in 3 episodes, both in the opening match. And
at that same time, I don't know who you would put over either of them. Not that either team would be hurt by a loss, but the launching pad that the win would be would feel like they'd have to be in the Revolution match with the Bucks and staying in Darby.
And Rick, who this has to be a ruse. This could be the worst booked ruse I've ever seen. Rick's going to turn on them.
Oh, yeah. No, this is... They're laying it thick with that.
Or the Bucks turn on him first.
Or the Bucks use him as a ploy. I don't know. All I know is that I don't want to say that Ric Flair can't be on TV, but he probably shouldn't be on TV at this
When
point.
he gets out of that car, and even my wife goes, "Oh goodness."
Yeah.
We do want to report that Madison Rain is okay after that
Yes.
spot last night. Wow, I was like,
That was
but
ugly.
she put on X Twitter this morning that she is okay. Thanked everybody for their support and basically told the people that were talking trash to go pound sand. Oh, hold on. It is time for your weekly Adam Page lower third update. He did have one last night, and it read as follows. Unhappy with this team, parenthesis, and generally, close parenthesis. This has been your Adam Page lower third update.
And connect the bridge, sir. Connect the bridge. Do it.
What?
The Rock doesn't work as a heel. Adam Page with a lower third doesn't work as a heel.
I like it still. Because it's, to me, it's kind of their way of going, just remember, this is a show.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor last week, because we're not doing this week's because I was only 40 minutes in before the show. Yeah. Advancing in the Women's Television Championship tournament last week were, again, Queen Aminata, Mercedes Martinez, Diamante, and Layla Hirsch. I have watched 3 of the 4 matches this week, all of them against enhancement talent versus last week. Like Layla Hirsch.
You feel like it's a balance aspect?
It's weird. Yeah. The Outrunners got a win over Lights Camera Faction.
Oh, I love the Outrunners. I don't know why.
Johnny TV tells Dalton Castle that he will only wrestle him if Dalton gives him the boys.
Odd pivot. Should the Outrunners be the medium boys?
I don't know. I like that.
I think that would work.
Their Magnum TA, but and tonight's main event on Ring of Honor will be Athena versus Nyla Rose for the women's championship in a 2 out of 3 falls tables match. And I called Alex and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of okay with this. Is kind of a cool pivot.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by this because it's something we don't see.
Yeah, do something different. I'm good. You know?
Anything else that we haven't work. Sometimes it's Hell in a Cell. I mean,
yeah. Anything else you want to talk about that we haven't talked about?
I feel like there was something else, but it might not be very important. But I think we're going to get a deeper dive onto some trailers that came out this week, whether it be Borderlands or did you see the trailer that dropped for Boy Kills World?
I saw you referenced it today when you sent me a message, but I read this. I don't watch trailers as much as I used to.
Well, this one is one of those ones that I don't believe words can do justice. And I don't think, without having watched or listened to it, the text I sent you would even make sense. Just trust me, it's one of those trailers you have to watch to understand. And I went from this sounds like a dumb title that reminds me of Boy Meets World, but screwy, to now I must see this movie.
All right.
So it did its job.
So all of our social media is right over there. There. www.theclubhouse.
Hey, look, Rock, this is how you do that.
Yeah, because you're on the other side. www.theclubhousepodcast.com. We'll have some more reviews hopefully coming for you this week. I think we'll have at least 1, maybe 2. You don't know. I don't know because I haven't looked at the calendar. You can follow me if you would like. Everything is yes, that Rob Irvin. That's spelled ERVIN. By the way, for the Clubhouse on X and on TikTok, it is Clubhouse Show.
I am Vexploit on all social media. If you'd like to help out the show, click on all the links. The one that's moving, it's going to be for the store if you want some merch. If you have any ideas or know an artist that could contribute or even for pay, they can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
The official fact checker for Sooner Gator Productions is Don Ford. You can follow him on X Twitter at Igbunu, IGBUNUUU. You can also email him if you'd like us to come do a live show for you. You never know when one of those might show up. He is Don at theclubhousepodcast.com. You can email me questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. I am Rob at theclubhousepodcast.com. Charla Marshall is on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. And we are both very excited that Despicable Me 4 is coming the weekend of my birthday. We already have it on the calendar. We're going to go see it together. Our normal show every Thursday night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, is your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, and professional wrestling. We're going to make it 4 in a row. Watch what happens. So until next week, for Alex, for Don, for the Empire. Oh, I almost got the wrong tag. Hold on one second. I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed. Brittany Palmer was at the rodeo this week. Doing what she does.